After coming home empty-handed every weekend so far this year, I finally scored my first garage sale comic book haul of 2021. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name's Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. So it's been a pretty busy 3-4 weeks or so on all fronts, really. So family front has been busy, on the work front it's been busy, but I'm happy to say it's also been busy on the comic book front. I've still got to show you the books, the great haul of books that I brought home from the Most Wanted Comics 3-day warehouse sale that they did back in June 11th through 13th, that was, and I got, just to tease it a little bit, I got close to $100 books at that sale. And that's just from going on the final day of the sale. So if I had been able to go to the first or second day, who knows how much more I would have found. I got that to show you. I've got new comic books coming this week from DCBS, which we'll show in an upcoming video. But then this past July 4th weekend, my wife Nicole and I went out, as we normally do on the weekends, to do some garage sailing, and I have been coming up empty-handed every outing so far this year. I ask if somebody has comic books, and maybe they do, and it's nothing good, or most of the time, really, they just don't have them. I just don't find comic books at garage sales all that often. But over this past holiday weekend, not just at one garage sale, but I actually found books at 2 different garage sales. And I've got enough books here to share that I'm going to split it into 2 videos. We're really just going to focus on the one garage sale and the haul that I brought home from that. And I'll share that with you today. But before we get to that story and before we get to that books, I do want to pause and say, if you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for checking it out. If you like comic book and comic book related content like back issue hauls, new comic book hauls, the occasional omnibus review. I'm also a huge Transformers fan, so if you like those kinds of things, please take just a second, hit that subscribe button. And then for all of you as you watch, if you see something you like, give it a thumbs up. And please let me know your thoughts and questions down below. Now, to the garage sale story, my first haul of the year for garage sales. The first thing I'll say is that garage selling in Minnesota is a little bit different than what I experienced back in New Jersey. New Jersey is where I'm from, spent most of my life there. But in Jersey, garage sales were weekend things. But here in Minnesota, they start earlier in the week. The most common day to see them start is really Thursday, but you can see some garage sales get posted as early as Wednesday. And so Nicole and I, when we go out, it's typically on Saturday morning. And so really that's the last day of the sale. So for me looking for something collectible like comic books, that's probably a big contributor why I'm not finding many comic books to begin with. It's because I can't get out there till Saturday because I'm working. But this particular weekend, being July 4th, we both had off on Friday, so we were able to get out a day earlier than normal, and so we wanted to hit some garage sales. And I will say, though, we weren't hugely optimistic about the results because being a holiday weekend, a lot of people in Minnesota get out of the cities, so we didn't think there would be a lot, but I did see one sale advertised online that said it had comic books, and we got there late even. It said it ended at one time, and we got there like 15 minutes late and figured, what the heck, the signs are still up, let's give it a shot. And the guy was still there, and walked up, and it was just in his garage, and there was a small stack, probably 20 some odd books just sitting there on a shelf amidst other things. And before I could even start going through them, the guy said, hey, all the stuff in that pile, it's all Legion, and the whole stack is $5. And if you've heard me talk about garage sales before, I don't need any more than that. I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know anything about the Legion of Superheroes, but you show me a stack of books this big and say the whole thing for $5, then I'm going to grab that because I'll look through it later and see if there's something in there that's salvageable either for me or for somebody else. So I grabbed that stack, and then we just were chatting with the guy. I will say this up front, there's no major keys, and there's a lot of run filler books. But the really cool thing about what this guy was selling is he had some really old things. He had some Silver Age books in there as well as some Bronze Age books. And so he would even reference, he goes, yeah, I got some 12 centers in there. And even if it's not a super valuable key, a 12-cent book from 1960s some year, that's still pretty cool to have. And when you're getting the whole stack for $5, hard to pass that up. Not only that, he said that he was going to be putting out more comic books the next day, so day 2 of the sale, but he wasn't pulling them out for day 1. And he said there'd be some more 12 centers, there'd be Marvel in there. He did mention some Dell and other things and some war comics, but just kind of tucked that away and said, all right, I'm going to have to make sure I come back tomorrow to see what else he's got, especially if he's taking big stacks of comics and selling them for like $5 a pop. So let's go ahead and swing the camera around and I'll just show you what I got. We're going to do first on day 1, and then we'll pause and come back and do day 2. But as you watch this, like I said, I don't have a single Legion of Superheroes comic book, and so all of these are new to me. I'm not familiar with the titles. I've been looking some of them up a little bit, and that's how I know. I don't think there's any significant keys in there, but if you know something about one of these books, please let me know down in the comments. But let's go ahead and get to the books. Those of you who are DC collectors, I'm going to lean on you to help point things out that may be cool or fun or noteworthy about these books. So starting out here, we got Superboy starring Legion of Superheroes. This is number 204, so 20 cents. We're in the 1970s here, and I'll just kind of transfer in one pile to the next. Here is number 243, still same title. 246, and I'll say I think that most of these books are books that the seller bought used. Like, these are not his childhood collection. He did say that he had a lot of these books and books like this from when he was a kid, but when, the telltale story, when he went off to college, his mom got rid of a lot of his comic books, and so he started over essentially, and he's been piecing things together over the last, many years. He's not actively collecting now. He is holding on to some things that he considers are his most valuable to him books. And this is just, though, they were moving and he's just trying to skim some stuff off and downsize a little bit. And so I think not only are they not his original books, but it sounded like from talking to him that he didn't want to spend like even $5 on a comic book. He'd much rather, get things cheap. So I can relate to that. Most of the books I buy are $1, $2. So in that range, but he bought a lot of these used. And so I think that the condition's a lot lower too, because he's looking essentially for, reader copies, not things he's ever going to get graded, or looking for, not so much the collector. Primarily, it sounds like the reader first. At least that's the vibe I got. I've been pausing here because I did want to point this one out. I did look this one up. This is a Whitman variant, so that's pretty cool. And I don't remember the number offhand, but I think one of the characteristics of some of these Whitman variants is that it was missing the issue number on the front cover. But I thought that was pretty cool there. More Legion of Superheroes, number 260. And unfortunately, this one, you can see as I move the plastic bag, that 40-cent price sticker and an orange price sticker behind it, those are on the cover of the book. So unfortunate. Here is Legion of Superheroes number 300. I did look this one up as well. This one says that it has a cameo of Spider-Man, and it has the first mainstream comic appearance of Garfield the Cat. And I went through multiple times paging through this comic to find those appearances, and when they say cameo, it's brief. It's one panel each, and it's the same panel. I'll show you. Right here at the back, there's this 2-page spread that shows the whole Legion, but if you look, it's like a Where's Waldo picture. If you look back here, behind this centerpiece here, there's Spidey, at least his torso and his right arm. And then right there is Garfield the Cat. So that is the noteworthy thing that I read about this particular issue. So kind of fun. Moving on here, here's number 301, 304, 305, and then annual number 2. And then we've got just this one, DC Comic Presents Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, or in this issue, it's the Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Here's a more modern book. Legion of Superheroes number 8. This is from 1985. Not sure what volume that is off the top of my head. The Legion number 17, jumping ahead to 2003. Legion of Superheroes, Wade and Kitson. This is number 3 from 2005. Oops, sorry for the glare there. And then number 6 from that same volume. And then this one's beat up too. You can see up here there's damage here. Maybe there was a price sticker or something on that one. Legion 90, issue number 11. And then these were the fun books. So this is where it got a little extra fun in this particular stack. Again, $5 for the whole thing. Now we go back to Silver Age. The last 4 or 5 books here are 12-cent Silver Age books. So this is Adventure Comics featuring Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. And I will say I am comforted some because as primarily a Marvel fan, when I look back at the titles, the number of titles, and the way they change titles over the years, it can get really confusing tracking your favorite heroes and characters and teams and things as they jump from one title to the next. But it's comforting for me to know that it looks like DC had similar things. So Adventure Comics featuring Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. Does that tie into the earlier one we saw, Superboy, starring the Legion of Superheroes? I haven't made all the connections yet to know how those all tie together, or if they do at all, or if it's just they happen to feature Superboy and the Legion in both of these. But nice to know that not just Marvel that has the proliferation of titles that can lead to some confusion to an outsider. But here we've got number 348. And then 353, one of the Legionnaires on this cover will die. You'll be shocked by the identity of the doomed Legionnaire. So, and these again, low grade, but still very cool to find these for so cheap, for like 30-some cents a piece. Hard to beat that. They're great to look at. Number 366. And then lastly in this pile, here's number 374, Adventure Comics. Supergirl on the cover there. So that rounds out the books for day 1.
Now, day 2, like I mentioned before, he did say he was going to be putting out some Marvel and some war books, and he mentioned Dell and some other things. And I'll say I let myself get a little too excited about that because I started picturing like Silver Age Fantastic Four and X-Men books when he said Marvel, and I really don't know anything about the war books, but we'll get to those as well. And so I had this really hyped up expectation, and again, it was very similar to the first day in that it was no major keys, but there were definitely some cool Bronze Age books in there, Silver Age books as well, in low grade condition, but the prices again were fantastic. He had 2 stacks of books, one that had a mixture of Marvel and DC, a variety of some, even things up to modern age. And he had that one stack, and then he had a second stack that was all war books. And again, a variety of eras from Silver Age to modern. And he said basically each stack was $10. And so a total of $20, and there was a little over 50 books total there. So again, without even looking through them, I knew I was just gonna buy them, and I could, figure it out later if there was anything valuable in there. So total investment, I spent $25 at this garage sale and came home with 75 books. And so doing the math, that's about 33 cents a comic. So again, low risk for the investment. So it was worth it, and it was a whole lot of fun. But now let's go ahead and show you the books that I got on day 2.
This was the first pile that he had, and he was charging $10 per pile. And I just lump it all together, right? Those 3 stacks of comics, $25 total, 33 cents or so a comic for, with total like 75 books. But these again, low grade to mid grade, but the price was so low, it's fun to have them. And it was good talking to the guy too about comics. Here's Giant Size Avengers number 5. It's damaged. This is ripped up here down to that top staple, but is reprints. I don't know if it's all reprint stories, but this first story, for example, says it was originally presented in Avengers Annual #1. I don't know if the other stories are the same, but it's got reprints in it. Just fun, inexpensive reader copies of some of these books. So Giant Size Avengers #1, or sorry, #5. Here's Avengers Annual. This is #15. This is pretty beat too. Got a nice roll there, lots of damage. But I look at these and say, these books were well loved by kids over the years. Robin, 4 of 5. This is a limited series. I think I have maybe part 1 of this, but not the others. Again, it's kind of a reader copy, lots of spine ticks and things on there. This was fun, Marvel Tales, starring Spider-Man. And this is a reprint. I don't remember what issue this reprints. Let's take a peek. This is reprinting. Here we go, it says it sideways. Originally presented in Amazing Spider-Man #27. So you've heard me say, if you watch some of my other videos, I really am growing in my like for these reprint titles that were the 70s and 80s. They're a much more affordable way to get some of those original Silver Age stories, and they're still very cool to look at. And some of them, depending on the issues you find, or the title or the issue number, some of them are starting to take off in value as well. But that's a cool issue to have. I don't have many of the Marvel Tales. Here's an Amalgam Comics. I only have one Amalgam Comics book in my collection. Here is now my second with Iron Lantern. This is probably the newest book that he was getting rid of, which tells me he's collected relatively recently in the last couple years, because we got a Rebirth title here with Green Arrow #9. Some more Legion stuck in there. You can tell he shopped at Half Price Books to get some of these. #71 from that particular volume. #300 of World's Finest Comics, and yep, that's good. That sticker is on the bag, not on the book itself. Tales of the Legion of Superheroes. Don't know if that was a spin-off at the time, if it was tie-in stories, or if it was a reprint, like classic X-Men or X-Men Classics. Not sure how they did that. Or G.I. Joe had a Tales of G.I. Joe. Sometimes they do offshoot stories, or sometimes it's reprints, but I'll have to look and see what the deal is on this title. That's #326. Back over to some Marvel. 2-in-1. Another one of these. Oh, this is not a reprint title. These featured The Thing teaming up with somebody, in this case, Scarlet Witch. This goes back to what? When is this one from? 1980. So that was issue 66. And I do like, some people don't like this, but see there's a date stamp up here in the top left corner, wherever this was being sold. I like that date stamp when you see those. I only have a couple comics that show that, but that's pretty cool to see. And I don't think, if you're into grading, you can let me know if I'm right or wrong on this. I don't think a date stamp like that affects the grade. Here's the book. I'd never seen this one before. This is just a limited series, Quest Probe, featuring Spider-Man. Don't know anything about it. It's from like the mid-80s, 1985. So, there's that. Here's the one Batman book. This is number 290. It is pretty beat. It may even be separated on the staples there. I collected Batman back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was first getting into comics, and I was collecting both DC and Marvel, but I don't have anything quite this old. Again, reader copy. I thought this one was cool to see. It's got a reverse Flash on the cover there. This is Flash number 237. Thought that was pretty fun, and that's in modest shape. Better than that Batman for sure. It's fully intact and attached. That's the oldest Action Comics that was in here. Actually, I think it's the only Action Comics that's in here, but it's 15 center, December This is number 383. Technically, I think this is 1969, so we're technically in the Silver Age with this one. Yep, December 1969, depending on where you draw your line for Silver Age to Bronze Age. I think it's right around beginning of 1970. So that's pretty cool to have. Then we've got two of this. It's these reprints of the first Silver Age Flash. This is the Millennium Edition. I'm guessing this one was newer, from 2000. But then there's this one as well, which is a reprint. And I've occasionally seen these in dollar bins, but this is the first one I have. I think reprinting, the same book. And then this stack is going to finish out, I think, with this newer modern title, Spider-Man Classics. Another reprint title. This ran for, I want to say, somewhere between 14 and 16 issues, maybe 14 issues. And each book reprints a Silver Age title from Amazing Spider-Man. He didn't have number 1 or 2, but if I had to guess, I would say that number 1 probably reprints Amazing Fantasy 15, and Spider-Man Classics issue 2 probably reprints Amazing Spider-Man number 1, because then starting here with issue 3, we get the reprint originally printed in Amazing Spider-Man number 2. So it's just one off from the main number there, and it does that through the rest of the volume. So we got issue 3, which is reprinting issue 2, issue 4, which reprints ASM number 3, you get the idea. And then 5, 6, 7, and I don't think these don't have any value per se. I think these were the early 90s. Yeah, 1993. They're a newer reprint, kind of thing you'd find in a dollar bin, but these are in decent shape. Number 9, 10. That's a cool cover. 11. I don't know. I'll have to look. I don't think that there's any significance to it, but I know when you start to hear like 1994, it is harder to find the newsstand editions of the comics in good shape. Now, I don't think Spider-Man Classics per se carries any value because it's just a reprint title, but still kind of neat that it's a newsstand edition as late as 1994 and in pretty good shape. Number 12, another newsstand. And then number 13 and 14. So I'm going to correct myself and say this went for 16 issues, not 14, because I'm pretty sure there were a couple after this that I don't have. But whatever I'm saying right now, I will correct or confirm myself on screen with a little text blurb there. But that finishes out the first pile from day 2. Now I'll grab the second pile. All right, so this is day 2, pile 2 of 2, and the balance of books you're going to see now, these are all war books. And again, they span the range of several comic book ages, the newest being modern books like here, the Nom, which is, mid to late 80s, and then going back to some Silver Age books as well. Again, no significant keys in here. Some of these are definitely pretty beat up, and they are reader copies. But this stack, again, he was saying for $10 for all of these books. So hard to pass that up when it's just to get your hands on some cool, especially older books for these kind of prices. So more shopping here at Half Price Books. Fortunately, that sticker, again, is on the bag, not on the book. There's 2 issues in here. You got the Nom number 12 and number 14. I only have 1 book from this volume. I have number 2. It was given to me by my brother-in-law when he so generously gave me his entire childhood comic book collection. That's a whole other video. Maybe I'll put a banner up top there if you want to go check that out. There were some pretty cool things in that gifted collection, but only 1 issue until this. And then I'd never heard of this from Apple Comics, Vietnam Journal number 8, To Face the Beast. So I don't know if this is supposed to be more, if it's historic fiction, if it's really kind of telling the story. Because it's got the prisoner of war missing in action emblem on there, I would imagine it's going to be somewhat true to history, but I'll have to take a look at that a little bit closer to see. And this is another book, never heard of this, Dark Horse Comics. This is a #1 historical epic of America's founding called Rebels. And I will say that this seemed to be, not this title, but this stack, these war books seemed to be more his passion. He definitely was a military buff and a history buff. He had a lot of military books and history books and things that were cool. We talked about that a little bit. I was a history major myself in college, and so we chatted a bit about that. So not surprising they would have some of these kind of comic books and historical portrayals in comic book form of some of these events. But there's Rebels #1. Here is, we're back into the Bronze Age now here. This is Men of War #2. And you can see the date here, 70s, obviously, because you could be in the Superman movie. And that's talking about the Christopher Reeve Superman movie. That was my first Superman growing up. And some of these books, I don't remember all of them going through, but several of them do feature Joe Kubert art, which is also pretty cool. Just given, you know, he's a major player in comic book history, so cool to have some of his art, both cover art and I believe interior art in some of these books. But there's Men of War #2. Same volume, #9. And then #13. Jumping ahead. Oh, now you could be a winner in the second Superman movie contest. Although they're not saying you could be in it. Just saying there's a contest this time. Men of War #20. I'm wondering, this guy is the lead in this book. He seems to be on all the covers. Sergeant Rock. This is more Joe Kubert. He made his debut much earlier than this, but this is a later issue of Sergeant Rock, #332. Star-Spangled War Stories featuring the Unknown Soldier. #200. And then 246. 252, 262, 3 terrific features, and then 264, and then the remaining books in the stack. I think these are the oldest books. They're probably, if I remember correctly, all Silver Age. So mostly like 12 or maybe 15-cent cover price. You've got Our Fighting Forces. This is #88. Land torpedoes. I have never heard of a land torpedo. The Fighting Devil Dog in Our Fighting Forces. That's #96. GI Combat, that's a famous war title. This is #131. Meet the Devil for Dinner. I wouldn't step out if I were you, dude. It's not all clear. Here's GI Combat, #139. I think in this title there was first appearance of, is it the Ghost Tank? Yeah, 139. More GI Combat, #185. Rewind again, going back to another 12 center here. PT Boat Skipper Captain Storm, issue #2. I don't know. I just love seeing these old covers. This is pretty beat up. You can see going down the side here. I don't think that cover's completely separated, but it's been, like I said, well loved and well read. There's a missing chunk in this one. I don't remember what number this is. This may be number 4. Let's take a peek. Yep, Captain Storm number 4. The other thing I've noticed about these is that it's, well, in addition to this right here where it has the title at the top of every page, it's much harder to find the creative credits, like who wrote it, who drew it. I don't know if that's, I don't have many Silver Age books to begin with in my collection, so if you're more familiar with this, is that just common in Silver Age books? Is it more common in DC books where it's harder to find the creative credits? Because you get these different stories and different parts, and I don't know, it's just hard to find those artistic credits on these. But Captain Storm number 4. Here's number 13. Number 17. And then the last book here, All American Men of War, number 102. Johnny Cloud, the Navajo Ace.
All right, that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this first comic book score from a garage sale that I've been able to have in 2021. I hope you saw something that you liked. Again, are you familiar with any of these books? If so, please let me know what you know about them down in the comments. Now, if you're not quite ready for the YouTube fun to stop, I have hand-selected a couple videos here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.